Hey guys, so today we're going to be talking about supercharging versus home charging, so that conversation is coming up. Always a concern with EVs is how are you going to charge them? Typically, you're going to want to have home charging because it's the easiest solution and the cheapest. But can you 100% only supercharge as a primary means of energy? Yes, you can. The battery will be fine, but it's going to be a little bit inconvenient to do that. But if one of your goals is cleaner transportation and you can deal with the extra time, then go for it. While a viable option, it's not going to be cheap, and that's why I want to make this video today. Back when the Model 3 came out, there was no COVID and there was no crazy inflation, so supercharging your car as a primary means of energy was a doable option, and it was a lot cheaper than it is today. Back then, it definitely was a good alternative, say if you lived in an apartment or some sort of complex where you didn't have level 2 charging at home. But as times have changed, you can still make supercharging work, but home charging is definitely the way to go. You'll see endless people online complaining about how supercharging isn't even cheap, and it's about the same as gassing up a car. Well, yeah, it's because of inflation. Supercharging was never meant to be a primary means of filling up your car. That's always been about home charging. But these people will basically complain because they expect supercharging in the middle of the day on peak timing, on peak pricing, to be the same as middle of the night off peak pricing. DC fast charging in general was really made for road tripping or when you need to get energy fast on the road so you can continue your trip. And there's a fee for that convenience, hence why supercharging is not really that cheap anymore. So this is where home charging becomes the solution. So just the convenience of having your own private gas station is totally clutch. So let's do a little math and see where we land supercharging versus home charging. So I looked up a local gas station today and they are charging $4.75 a gallon for regular unleaded. So if we do that math, let's say your ICE car gets 30 miles a gallon and we're filling up to 300 miles. That would mean that's 10 gallons that you need, and 10 gallons times $4.75 is $47.50 to fill up your tank with an ICE car. So as of today, Tesla uses time of use rates to charge. So basically, if you charge at 1 a.m., it's going to be off-peak charging. It's going to be a lot cheaper. But I'm going to assume that you're not going to charge off-peak because who's going to charge at 1 or 2 a.m. in the morning? So basically, we're going to assume that you're charging on-peak, even if it's at 8 p.m. after work, because on-peak for Tesla's time of use rates go all the way to like 12 a.m. It's pretty crazy, actually. And just a clarification, it really depends on the station. Some stations have actual time of use rates where basically there's, on peak, partial peak, off peak, etc. But anyways, I'm going to use 51 cents, which is one of the stations I looked at that's in the area, as the, pricing for supercharging, which is literally outrageous, but we're in California, so what more do I need to say? And also keep in mind that if you live in a different part of the country, you may still have flat rates. So basically I'm comparing for us here on the West Coast, what it would be like to have a Tesla. So if we take a Model 3 as an example, Model 3s get about 4 miles a kilowatt hour. So if we take that same 300 miles that we need, divide that by 4, you get 75 kilowatt hours of juice that you need. So if you take 75 times 51, that turns out to be $38.25. So still a little bit cheaper than getting the same amount of range for a gas car. But I remember back in like 2019 when supercharging range used to be like 30 cents a kilowatt hour. So back then it was a lot cheaper to supercharge and it was more worth it to get a Tesla at that time if you were into just the savings of gas versus electricity. So on that note, this is why home charging is just better. So if we take PG&E, my utility company, right now it's June, so they're charging 36 cents a kilowatt hour for time of use rate, which is still a lot, honestly, but hey, again, we're on the West Coast and everything here is expensive. So if we do that math one more time, 36 cents times the 75 kilowatt hours that we need for the 300 miles of range, home charging would be $27. So almost half of what it would cost to fill up your ICE car. So not bad. And also take into account that if you drive more, that means you're going to save more as well because of no maintenance for EVs, or basically no maintenance. And I think if you live outside of California, I think the gap is going to be bigger between gas and electric for getting an electric car. So is 100% supercharging a viable option? It is, but I definitely think that if you want the best bang for your buck, you want to get home charging because it's going to be the easiest and the cheapest solution. then that also means that you can get into things like solar, which we have. And so basically every time PG&E raises their rates, that's actually good for us because that just means that we're going to hit our break even faster. And it means that our total ROI for our solar project is going to be greater because we're going to be saving more money over the long run. Do you know anyone that 100% supercharges their car? What do they think about it? Let me know in the comments, and thanks for watching.